Hi readers, welcome back to my channel. Lee here. My channel's name is Lila Wanders and Reads. And first of all, forgive me if you look in my hair and you see any like leaf particles or leaves or anything like that. Not that, that's a clip. I was out there trying to clean out my driveway, so I was blowing leaves and they got everywhere because that's how they roll. Anywho, so yesterday I posted a video about the New York Times 100 Most Notable Books of 2024, and I talked about the 8 that I have read. Today, I'm going to talk about the 7 that I have not read. Now, New York Times came out with this list just last week, and by the time this post, they should have already picked their top 10. I'm really excited to see what they are. If I have any of them, I'm definitely going to try to bump at least one of them up on my to read this year list. And I just realized that by the time this post, it's already December. I'm recording this on November 30th. There's 31 days left in the year, basically. So I've got to get to reading. I think I'm on my way out of this hole that I've been in. But yeah, it's been rough. So anyway, let's get to it. I've got 7 books that are on the New York Times Most Notable list, and haven't read any of these. No shit, right? That's what this video is about. All right, so let's start off with, these are alphabetical order by title. First one is All Fours by Miranda July. I picked this up on a whim. I have hesitated to pick it up because it seems a little out there. But I mean, obviously I bought it, so I don't mind that much that it's out there. A semi-famous artist announces her plan to drive cross-country from LA to New York City. 30 minutes after leaving her husband and child at home, she spontaneously exits the freeway, checks into a nondescript motel, and immerses herself in an entirely different journey. Miranda July's second novel confirms the brilliance blah 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 blah. And that's all it says. It doesn't... In the next, it talks about... Okay, All Fours tells the story of one woman's quest for a new kind of freedom. Part absurd entertainment, part tender reinvention of the sexual, romantic, and domestic life of a 45-year-old female artist, All Fours transcends expectation while excavating our beliefs about life lived as a woman. I hate when they do this. Tell me about the book. I don't want to hear about your opinion of the book, because I want to know what I'm going into. I have an idea. It's called All Fours, right? But my idea could be completely wrong. I don't think I am. So I don't know. We'll see. If this makes the top 10 list, I'll definitely try to get to this before the end of the year. If not, I'll probably put it off a little bit longer. There are a couple here I know I'm not going to read because they're nonfiction, but what the hell? It could happen. What I'm drinking today is a Lyre's Amalfi Spritz. And non-alcoholic, of course, but I do like that I can have a little bubbly, especially in this holiday time. And I can have a little bubbly and still be able to go, leaf blow afterwards and not just want to sit on the couch and read. Nothing wrong with sitting on the couch and reading. Next up, I went back and forth on this book about picking it up, but in the end I did. That is Martyr by Kaveh Akbar. Cyrus Shams, the novel's hero, is a young man grappling with an inheritance of violence and loss, a mother whose plane was shot down over the skies of the Persian Gulf in a senseless accident, and a father whose life in America was circumscribed by killing chickens on a factory farm in the Midwest. Cyrus is a drunk, an addict, and a poet whose obsession with martyrs leads him into the mysteries of his past, toward an uncle who rode through Iranian battlefields dressed as the angel of death to inspire and comfort the dying, and toward his mother, through a painting discovered in a Brooklyn art gallery that suggests she might not have been who or what she seemed. Cyrus is guided on his journey by the voices of artists, poets, and kings, and delivered in the novel's unforgettable final pages to a world that teems with unforeseen wonders. What finally sealed the deal with me on this is I love a fucked up narrator who tries. I recently read The Woman in the Window, and that was a problem that I had with her. She was completely fucked up. She was alcoholic. She had bad shit happen to her, but she didn't even try to recover. And it's understandable when you read what happened to her family. I've had knife accidents this weekend. But, you know, bad stuff happens to all of us, and what I like is a narrator who keeps falling, but keeps getting up anyway. And it seems like Cyrus gets up. And this is, 2 years later, this is page 8 of the book. "I would die for you," Cyrus said alone to his reflection in the little hospital mirror. He wasn't sure he meant it, but it felt good to say. So I think that this is going to be one that I do try to get to, if not before the end of the year, I do try to get to in January. Much more eager for that one than for All Fours. Next up is a book that I picked up just recently on a whim. I have another one of his novels. It was, the other one of his novels is near here, but it's not quite within arm's reach. It is on the New York Times list of 100 books, best books of the 21st century? Whatever. Anywho, 21st century. Anywho, this one is Our Evenings by Alan Hollinghurst. This is notable for 2024. He won the Booker Prize for what? Was it? I don't know what he won the Booker Prize for. It doesn't say in here. No, The Line of Beauty. That's what won the Booker Prize. That also is the book I have over here in a pile near here, but I can't see it. That was one of the 100 best book. I forgot, of the 100 books of the century. Anywho, I have lost focus. Dave Wynne, the son of a Burmese man he's never met and a British dressmaker, is 13 years old when he gets a scholarship to a top boarding school. With the doors of elite English society cracked open for him, heady new possibilities emerge, even as Dave is exposed to the envy and viciousness of his wealthy classmates, above all, that of Giles Hadlow, whose worldly parents sponsored the scholarship and who find in Dave someone they can more easily nurture than their own brutish son. Yada yada yada. Alan Hollinghurst's new novel follows Dave from the 1960s on through the possibilities that remain open for him and others that prove to be illusory. As a working-class brown child in a decidedly white institution, a young man discovering queer culture and experiencing his first formative love affairs, a talented but overlooked actor on the road with an experimental theater company, and an older Londoner whose late-in-life marriage fills his days with an unexpected sense of happiness and security. Moving in and out of Dave's orbit are the Hadlows. Estranged from his parents, who remain close to Dave, Giles directs his privilege into a career as a powerful right-wing politician whose reactionary vision for England pokes perilous holes in Dave's stability. As the story accelerates toward the present day, the two men's lives and values will finally collide in a cruel shock of violence. I am all about a cruel shock of violence. Let's see how this one starts out. I mean, not in real life, I don't want that. In a book, though, I'm all about it. No rehearsal this morning, so we stayed in bed. I made tea and we sat propped up, searching our phones for stories about Mark. Why we needed to read them, I'm not sure. Perhaps knowing a famous person makes you part of the story, and you want whoever is telling it to see the point and get it right. Before all fours, maybe around the same as Martyr. Not sure about that. The beginning does not... I don't know. Might be. It's a long one. It's a bit of a brick. Sorry, I hit another... If I winced, I hit another sore cut that I gave myself. I'm at 487 pages on our evenings. I'm a bit all over the place. I apologize. There is no alcohol in that. Okay, 4 left. Next up is Piglet by Lottie Hazell. I picked this up ages ago, but obviously this year. And again, I think I would read the... I wish that there were little pockets of time, like cubby holes, that you could go into. Like, I need an hour. Like, I'd love to read Piglet right now, but I'm in the middle of doing another book. I've got to do chores. I've got to feed myself. All this kind of crap that takes up your time. I wish you could, like, go into a cubby hole and have an hour, like an extra hour. And then when you come back out, you're still at, like, 3:30. And you've spent an hour reading Piglet. Anywho, I digress, but that's what I've been thinking about this week because there are so many books that I want to read and there's just not enough time. So let me tell you about Piglet now that I've told you about my theory about time cubbyholes. If I was ruler of the world, we would have them, or ruler of the universe. Outside of a childhood nickname she can't shake, Piglet's rather pleased with how our lives turned out. An up-and-coming cookbook editor at a London publishing house, she's got lovely, loyal friends and a handsome fiancé, Kit, whose rarefied family she actually, most of the time, likes, despite their upper-class eccentricities. One of the many things Kit loves about Piglet is the delicious, unfathomably elaborate meals she's always cooking. I love Piglet, too. But when Kit confesses a horrible betrayal 2 weeks before they're set to be married, Piglet finds herself suddenly hungry. The couple decides to move forward with the wedding as planned, but as it nears and Piglet's... Hold on. But as it nears and Piglet balances family expectations, pressure at work, and her quest to make the perfect cake, she finds herself increasingly unsettled, behaving in ways she can't explain. Torn between a life she's always wanted and the ravenousness that comes with not getting what she knows she deserves, Piglet is, by the day of her wedding, undone, but also ready to look behind the lies we sometimes tell ourselves to get by. I think that this goes so well with my mad woman that I have going on. I do talk about it quite a bit. I didn't talk about it in my last video. But Mad Women is like a catch-all phrase for different ways that women express themselves and women are portrayed in literature. And I think that I'm going to add this one. If this is not on the top 10, this is going, regardless, this is going up there read soon. Okay. Next up is one that I recently bought that's actually a sequel to a book I haven't read. And I looked at the first one at the store yesterday and chose not to pick it up. This is, I'm not sure if it's actually the sequel. It's a second book, but it's called the sequel. The first book that this author well, not the first book. This author also wrote the plot, which is similar plot as the sequel, apparently. But I don't know. My friend Dina read it. She's reading this now, I think. I picked this up a couple weeks ago, and I guess I'll read the sequel before I read the plot. I picked this up because it looked like a mystery. I did not know that it was on the New York Times 100 Most Notable. Anna Williams Bonner has taken care of business. That is to say, she's taken care of her husband, best-selling novelist Jacob Finch Bonner, and laid to rest those anonymous accusations of plagiarism that so tormented him. Now she's living the contented life of a literary widow, enjoying her husband's royalty checks in perpetuity. I've got to see if I have to read the first book first. I'll check that out later. Where was I? Oh yeah, she was getting her husband's royalty checks, but for the second time in her life, a work of fiction intercedes, and this time it's her own debut novel, The Afterword. After all, how hard can it really be to write a universally lauded bestseller, right? But when Anna publishes her book and indulges in her own literary acclaim, she begins to receive excerpts of a novel that she never expected to see again, a novel that should no longer exist. That it does means something has gone very wrong, and someone out there knows far too much about her late brother, her late husband, and just possibly Anna herself. What does this person want, and what are they prepared to do? She's come too far and worked too hard to lose what she values most, the sole and uncontested right to her own story. Again, Mad Woman theme. And she is, by any standard, a master storyteller. I've got to see if it's necessary to read the plot before you read this, because if I do, maybe I'll pick it up, but I have another idea for a project that I want to do for 2025, so I need to save what I buy that's not new releases. We'll see. Okay. Speaking of mad women, so I'm going into 2025 with my feminist superhero cape on, and to prepare for that, I've been picking up books about, I call it my Mad Woman phase, but again, that's a catch-all phrase for how women are portrayed, how men portray women, how women portray themselves. So anyway, I was at the bookstore several weeks ago, trying not to think about smoking, and I picked up the Bluestockings, A History of the First Women's Movement. I thought this was about somebody else, but I ended up picking up not knowing it was even a new release or anything about this. I thought it was about another feminist, but I was wrong. Yeah, I don't even know what month this was released in, but this was in the, like, social studies or whatever, women's studies section at Barnes & Noble. It wasn't even out front. So, Bluestockings. In England, in the 1700s, a woman who was an intellectual, spoke out, or wrote professionally was considered unnatural. A mad woman. After all, as the wisdom of the era dictated, a clever woman, if there were such a thing, would never make a good wife. But a circle of women called the Bluestockings did something extraordinary. Coming together in glittering salons to discuss and debate as intellectual equals with men, they fought for women to be educated and have a public role in society. In this intimate and revelatory history, Susannah Gibson delves into the lives of these pioneering women. Elizabeth Montagu established one of the most famous salons of the Bluestocking movement, with everyone from royalty to revolutionaries clamoring for an invitation to attend. Her younger sister, Sarah Scott, imagined a female-run society and created a women's commune. Meanwhile, Hester Thrale, who also had a salon, saved her husband's brewery from bankruptcy and, after being widowed, married a man she loved, Italian, Catholic, and not of her social class. Other women made a name for themselves through their publications, including Catherine Macaulay, author of an 8-volume history of England, and Frances Burney, author of the audacious novel Evelina. In elegant prose, Gibson reveals the close and complicated relationships between these women, how they supported and admired each other, and how they sometimes judged and exploited one another. Some rebelled quietly, while others defied propriety with adventurous and scandalous lives. I am going to listen to, first of all, pictures, love it. I'm going to listen to this on, if it's on Audible, I've got to check it out. There's a thing about Shakespeare in here. Okay, so if it's on Audible, I will listen to this probably January. I need to put this up. I'll just leave that right here in front of my face. I'm listening to a fiction book right now that's really part of a 10-part series. I don't want to really listen to all 9 of them. So I've got to figure out, this is where a time cubbyhole would be perfect, because I could actually go through, read that series, and not have it affect my other reading, but time cubbyholes don't exist yet. Anyway, I will probably, when I finish that, start the Bluestockings. I'm gonna shoot for January, and that will really start the year off right. Anywho, last book. This book I bought because it was on Barack Obama's reading list for this year. That is There's Always This Year on Basketball and Ascension by Hanif Abdurraqib. And this has been on my shelf since he put his list out. I've not read it yet. Are there pictures in here? No pictures. Let's have a sip. Growing up in Columbus, Ohio in the 1990s, Hanif Abdurraqib witnessed a golden era of basketball, one in which legends like LeBron James were forged and countless others weren't. His lifelong love of the game leads Abdurraqib into a lyrical, historical, and emotionally rich exploration of what it means to make it, who we think deserves success, the tension between excellence and expectation, and the very notion of role models, all of which he expertly weaves together with intimate personal storytelling. Here is where I would like to tell you about the form on my father's jump shot, Abdurraqib writes. The truth, though, is that I saw my father shoot a basketball only one time. There's Always This Year is a triumph, brimming with joy, pain, solidarity, comfort, outrage, and hope. No matter the subject of his keen focus, whether it's basketball or music or performance, Hanif Abdurraqib's exquisite writing is always poetry, always profound, and always a clarion call to radically reimagine how we think about our culture, our country, and ourselves. This is another contender for audiobook. However, this has got chapters, but it's also broken up by time, like 11:40, 11:30, 11:20. It's counting down. It's a game. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter. So the first is pregame. Then first quarter, city as its true self. Second quarter, flawed and mortal gods. Third quarter, the mercy of exits, the magic of fruitless pleading. Fourth quarter, city as its false self. I think this is the one for reading. I don't know when I'll get to it. Sorry, my nose is itching. He wrote a book called A Little Devil in America, National Book Award finalist. I've not heard of him. However, definitely going to check him out. Hope. He does poetry also. So, this is definitely one I do want to read because I like the countdown element of it. I like how it's broken up. And I'm interested in what he has to say. Well, so, that is it for me. I've kind of rambled a little bit. It's gonna happen. That's how I roll, folks. Anywho, lost my note card, found it. So these are the 7 books on the New York Times 100 Most Notable Books of 2024 that I have, but I have not read. I would like some kudos because I went through the whole list and I was like, ooh, do I need to look at this one? And do I need to look at that one? And I didn't. I withheld and really deliberately tried not to look at books that looked interesting but that I did not have because I'm trying to curb my book buying. It's gotten out of control. I meant to bring this over as an example, but I didn't. So this morning, what I do on the weekend or holiday days is I wake up, I turn my coffee pot on, I give my cat his pills and his snack because otherwise I can't do anything else because he will scream at me. And then I take a cup of coffee back to my bed and then I watch YouTube videos for the people that I follow. I'm not going to list them all here. And sometimes if the people that I follow haven't posted anything, I'll look at somebody new. And today I was looking and somebody mentioned a book called Enter Ghosts. Enter Ghosts? I think that's what it's called. And I was like, oh, that one sounds intriguing. Let me add it to my Barnes & Noble wish list. Even though I did that on my phone and I did not check my app that has a list of all the books that I own. And today I was putting some books away and there is Enter Ghosts. So 2025, I've got to read my own shit. I've got 2 exceptions that I'm trying to go for. One is that I'm not counting the rest of 2024. Okay? So 2025, new releases I do get to buy. And then 2, I can't do this all at once. I had so much fun on my Booker project. The Booker, okay, 3 exceptions, but 2 are connected. So the second one is, when the Booker Prize announces its long list for 2025, I'm going to get and read some books from that list because I really enjoyed that last year. My whole Booker reading project, I read 4, 5, 6, 7 books or so. I don't remember how many now, but it was really a great experience. I want to do that again this year. Second thing is, I think I want to go through and read the Booker Prize books, winners, from the beginning up till now. I don't know how many years that is, so I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, and I don't know if I will do it, but it's something I want to reserve the right to do and buy books if I feel like it. Anywho, that is all for me. This is my 3rd post of the week. I'll be back on Saturday with Saturday snacks, and hopefully I'll have had a chance to try 1 or 2 of the recipes in the cookbook that I'll feature this weekend. Anywho, love to hear from you down in the comments. As always, thank you for sticking with me on this journey. Happy reading!